Welcome to week 2. I'm glad you guys have made it this far. So last week we learned a lot about connecting with your teenager and really some good information on what teenagers are like, why they crave independence, and some details about how we can approach them in our newfound role as a consultant. For this week, I'm going to offer you some really practical, hands-on tips and tricks on exactly how to connect with your teenager. Stay tuned. I think you're going to like it. So let's talk about how do you build that foundation of trust? How do you help your child to actually want to communicate with you? How do you help your child to come to you when things are going on with them instead of going to their friends? So I want to share with you an acronym that I use often in sessions and in my personal life that I have just found really helpful. So the acronym is LOVER with a U. So it's LUVER. The L stands for listen. The U stands for understand. The V stands for validate. The E is for empathize. And the R is repeat until soothed. So let's say a situation, I can give you an example of something that happened a couple of years ago at my house. It's an example I often use in sessions. So my daughter, who has given me permission to share the story with whoever, she came home from school, and a high school student, and she was obviously angry, threw her backpack down and just sort of started ranting about how mad she was that she had gone to school and she had an assignment that was due in biology class, and her biology teacher wouldn't let her, she left the assignment at home. And so the biology teacher wouldn't allow her to call me to go bring the assignment to her. The biology teacher said, you can't turn it in tomorrow for partial credit. You can't do, unless this assignment's in my hand right now, you just get a 0 on it. She was so mad. She was like, I worked so hard on that, and he wouldn't even give me a chance, and he wouldn't even let me call you. I know you were even home, and you could have just run it up to the school for me real quick, and he just wouldn't even give me a chance. And at that moment, everything inside of me wanted to tell my kid, how many times have I told you to put your assignment in your backpack? How many times have I told you to put your backpack by the front door? How many times have I said blah, 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 blah? Everything in me was just wanting to, I guess, throw it back in her face. Like, I told you to do it this way. You're 15 now. You should know better. But I didn't do that. I thought about actually what I tell clients in sessions to do, and that's to go through this LOVER acronym. So I started off with the listen part. And so what I did was I obviously listened to everything that she said that I just mentioned, and I asked a few points of clarification, is this the assignment that I saw you working on last night? Do you feel like you understood the assignment pretty well? What was it about this assignment in particular that was so important to you? She said, well, it was worth a lot of points, and she's trying to bring her grade up. So I kind of got some extra, not any questions that would, kind of put her in the hot spot, but just kind of questions of clarification about the situation. And then I went to the U. So the U is understand. And so a statement of understanding would sound like this. It would be, if I understand you right, it sounds like you're saying that you worked really hard on your assignment last night, that you forgot to put it in your backpack, that your biology teacher wouldn't let you call me, or wouldn't let you turn it in tomorrow for partial credit even, and you just got an automatic 0. Did I get that right? And she said, well, yeah, but the biggest part of it was that I worked so hard on it, and he wouldn't even give me a chance. Like, I don't even think he likes me. Like, he wouldn't even give me a chance. And so I said, okay, so if I understand you right, the biggest part is that you worked really hard, and he wouldn't even give you a chance. And they feel like he doesn't even like you. And she said, yeah. So then I went down to the V, which is validate. And I said, honey, this has got to be so hard. And I think, if I were in your shoes right now, I'd be really ticked off too. I can imagine if I were sitting in that class, I would have been disappointed in myself and really angry at my teacher too, because he wasn't even giving me a chance. And I feel like you have every right to be angry about this situation. I think anybody in your shoes would be really angry right now. And then I went to the E, which is empathize. And I said, babe, this has to be so hard. It has to be so hard because you've started off in this new school and you don't know a lot of people, and it's just got to be really rough to go to, we previously had homeschooled, so to go from homeschooling into a public high school with 2,000 students and, not be familiar with kind of all the rules and the way things go. That's got to be really tough. And, not to be in this habit of, making sure you have your assignments in your backpack. We homeschooled, so having your assignment on the kitchen table was fine for the first, 8 years of your education, and now it's not. And so it's got to be especially hard, just, this transition into trying to remember all the things you've got to remember now that you're in the public school setting, transferring that from a homeschool setting. And she said, well, it's really hard. And you know what else is hard? I was in PE class and I overheard 2 girls talking about me, saying that they heard that I was making out with some boy. Mom, I've never even kissed a boy. I'm not interested. I don't know who the boys are. They said this name. I don't even know who that kid is. I don't know who these girls are. I hate the school. I never want to go back. So at that point, I repeated. So the next one's R. I went back to the top. And then I listened to what she had to say about that situation. I sought to understand what she said. If I hear you right, it sounds like you're saying. I validated her feelings. I would be so angry or upset too, or I'm sure any teenager in this situation would be upset. And the empathize part, this has got to be terrible, or I know this is so hard. When you go through that, when you truly listen to somebody, seek to understand them, and seeking to understand really proves to them that you heard them, validate their feelings and empathize with them without any judgment. When you do that, they want to talk more. I mean, this is a counseling technique. Like, this is a technique that counselors are even taught in a counseling session to help patients to open up and to feel, soothed when they're upset. This is something counselors do. You as parents can do the exact same thing. It's not difficult. Go through that, listening, understanding, validating, empathizing, and then repeat as needed. My daughter and I, in that situation in particular, we cycled through that several times because the more I listened and understood and empathized and validated, the more she wanted to keep talking. And I learned all sorts of stuff about that kid that I didn't know previously, just because I was giving her my time and attention and really actively listening to her and validating her. Going back, if in that situation when she came in the house and she was ticked off and mad, if I would have at that moment said, how many times have I told you to put your assignments in your backpack? If I would have blamed her, she'd have stomped off to her room and slammed her door and not talked to me for the rest of the night. I would have cut conversation off right there. She'd probably be crying in her bedroom, angry, probably texting all of her friends about what a terrible mom she has, right? And it would have solved nothing. It just would make her feel 10 times worse, make me feel like I'm a bad mom, and at the end of the day, we've got 2 people that feel hurt.